Welcome to our channel. What if I told you one single decision could change your life forever? What if greatness wasn't reserved for the lucky, but was hidden inside of you, waiting to be awakened? Imagine waking up each morning with clarity, with energy, with a fire inside your heart so powerful that nothing and no one could hold you back. This isn't just another motivational video. This is an invitation to step into the life you were meant to live. If you're ready to rise, to break free from the ordinary, to lead, to inspire, and to live your life at the highest level, then you're in the right place. Before we dive into this life-changing journey, be sure to like this content, subscribe to our channel for more content that fuels your soul, and share it with a friend who needs this spark today. Because together, we are building a movement, a tribe of dreamers, leaders, and warriors who refuse to settle for anything less than extraordinary. Now, take a deep breath, open your heart, and get ready to meet the greatest version of yourself. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Dangerous Deed. The tale begins. It was a morning like any other, or at least that's how it looked on the outside. Inside a luxurious conference hall, a crowd of people sat in quiet anticipation. The energy was electric, the air thick with the collective hope of transformation. Entrepreneurs, CEOs, artists, and high performers had flown in from around the world to witness what was billed as the final seminar of one of the world's most respected personal development legends. The Spellbinder. That's what they called him. For decades, he had stirred hearts and expanded minds with his powerful speeches. He was a philosopher in modern clothing, a motivator who challenged people to rise above mediocrity and embrace the greatness buried within them. But time had worn him down. His once vibrant body now looked fragile. Yet, as he stepped onto the stage and gripped the microphone, his presence remained magnetic. He began to speak, not with hype or flash, but with raw authenticity. His voice carried wisdom shaped by decades of discipline, failure, and fierce determination. He spoke of purpose, of self-mastery, of how the way we begin our days determines how we live our lives. He reminded the crowd that in a world addicted to distraction, the true warriors of life are those who protect their focus and take command of their mornings. Among the audience sat two people whose lives were unraveling. One was a talented entrepreneur, outwardly successful but inwardly exhausted. Her company was suffering, her creativity was drying up, and she had forgotten what passion even felt like. The other was a frustrated artist, brimming with potential but paralyzed by self-doubt and the noise of modern life. He dreamed of greatness but was stuck in a cycle of procrastination, distraction, and fear. They didn't know each other. Yet fate was about to weave their paths together in the most unexpected way. As the Spellbinder reached the crescendo of his final message, a commotion stirred in the back of the room. A man stood up. He looked homeless, or perhaps just wildly eccentric. His clothing was wrinkled, his beard unruly, and he had a strange sparkle in his eyes. People whispered, was he lost? Was he confused? Was he going to disrupt the seminar? Instead, he asked a question, calmly, clearly, and boldly. And then, to everyone's surprise, he revealed who he truly was. A billionaire. One of the wealthiest and most successful men in the world. But not the type who sought the spotlight. He had made his fortune quietly, behind the scenes, building empires while most people were still asleep. Literally. His secret? He woke up at 5 a.m. every single day. Not just to get a head start on business, not just to exercise or meditate, but to work deeply on himself, his mindset, his values, his emotional fitness. This, he claimed, was the secret weapon behind his extraordinary success and fulfillment. The crowd was stunned. Most had spent their lives chasing external achievements, believing success came from working harder or learning new business strategies. But here was a man saying the real transformation, the kind that sticks, starts within. The billionaire then did something even more surprising. He invited the entrepreneur and the artist, two complete strangers, to join him on a transformational journey. He would teach them his methods, not in a boardroom or a seminar hall, but out in the world through experience. The artist hesitated. Could waking up early really fix his shattered confidence and inconsistent discipline? The entrepreneur felt skeptical too. She had tried every productivity hack, every app, every seminar, but still felt empty. And yet, something about the billionaire's conviction, his peace, his energy, it made them both say yes. What followed was not just a lesson in time management. It was an invitation to reclaim their lives, to remember who they were before the world told them who to be. The billionaire explained that the hours between 5 o'clock and 6 a.m. are sacred, that in those quiet moments, before emails, news feeds, and demands, you have the chance to build a life on your own terms. This first chapter of the 5 a.m. Club is not about tactics, it's about mindset. It frames the story as a modern-day fable where timeless wisdom is wrapped in story. The spellbinder's final message, the billionaire's mysterious entrance, the emotional wounds of the entrepreneur and the artist, all set the stage for a deeper transformation. Robin Sharma uses narrative to draw us in. He doesn't lecture, he invites. He asks us to question how we're living, to examine the choices we make each morning. Are we reactive or intentional? Are we driven by purpose or drifting with the tide? By the end of this chapter, one thing becomes clear. This is not just a book about waking up early. It's about waking up to your life. It's about building the discipline, awareness, and courage to live deliberately in a world that rewards distraction. And so, the journey begins, not just for the characters in the story, but for us as readers. Or better yet, for us as leaders of our own lives. Chapter 2. The Spellbinder's Tale. A Legend's Final Lesson. The atmosphere in the grand auditorium still crackled with emotion. The audience had just witnessed something rare, a glimpse into the heart of greatness, not through spectacle, but through sincerity. The spellbinder stood before them, a man worn by years, yet more powerful than ever. His voice, though not loud, carried with it a force few could ignore. He leaned slightly on his cane, but his words stood tall. This wasn't just a motivational speech. It was a final transmission, a legacy moment. He spoke not of fame, money, or accolades. Instead, he talked of human potential, the limitless ability inside every individual, often buried under years of doubt, fear, and distraction. He had spent his entire life helping people remember what they had forgotten, that greatness is not reserved for the few, it is the birthright of all. Most people die at 30, he said quietly, but are buried at 80. The room froze. You could hear the collective breath of hundreds being held. He explained that we've allowed ourselves to become disconnected from what truly matters. We chase temporary pleasures while abandoning long-term purpose. We trade meaning for momentum. And worst of all, we've forgotten how to live. The spellbinder revealed that every master was once a beginner. That ordinary people, when guided by vision, discipline, and love for the process, can accomplish the extraordinary. He warned against becoming addicted to distraction, our smartphones, endless notifications, shallow entertainment. These things dull the brilliance of our minds and sap the fire from our souls. He paused, closed his eyes briefly, then looked up. Your days are your life in miniature, he said. As you live each day, so you craft your destiny. He urged the audience to take back their mornings, not for hustle, but for healing. Not to do more, but to be more. He described how the early hours of the morning hold sacred power. In those quiet moments before the world wakes, the mind is clearest. The heart is most open. The soul is ready to grow. The spellbinder called this the hour of legends. And those who rise early to embrace it, he said, are the ones who will rise above mediocrity. The entrepreneur and the artist were still sitting side by side in the crowd, drawn into his words like moths to flame. The entrepreneur felt tears sting her eyes. She had forgotten how powerful she could be. The artist leaned forward slightly, caught between inspiration and disbelief. Could it really be this simple? Wake up early, work on yourself, change your life? The spellbinder sensed the doubt. This isn't easy, he said, his tone shifting, but it is worth it. He told them that success is not for the faint-hearted. It requires consistency. It demands sacrifice. It asks you to let go of who you were, so you can become who you were meant to be. He told them to stop chasing success the way society sells it. Instead, he invited them to pursue mastery, to focus less on being busy and more on being brilliant, to trade distraction for discipline, excuses for execution, and doubt for deliberate action. Protect the first hour of your day, he said firmly. That's when heroes are made. His eyes softened now, a sadness creeping in. He admitted that he was nearing the end of his journey. His health was failing. His body could no longer keep up with the intensity his spirit demanded. But he had made peace with that. What mattered most to him now was passing the torch to a new generation of leaders, artists, and visionaries who would carry his message further than he ever could. He gave one final reminder. You don't have to be perfect to begin. You just have to be willing. The moment felt like a goodbye, but also like a beginning. The billionaire stood quietly at the back of the room, nodding with deep respect. He, too, had been transformed by the spellbinder's teachings many years ago, and now it would be his turn to carry the message forward, not on a stage, but through action, through presence, through a new kind of mentorship. As the spellbinder stepped away from the microphone, the room erupted into applause. Not the kind born of excitement, but of reverence. The kind that comes from knowing you've just witnessed something important. The entrepreneur and the artist sat in stillness. Something within them had shifted. They didn't know where this journey would lead, but they knew it had already begun. The spellbinder had planted the seed. Now it was up to them to nurture it, grow it, and in time, pass it on. Chapter 3. The 20-20-20 Formula. The Ritual of Legends. The sun had barely started to stretch across the sky. The city was still asleep, cloaked in quiet. But inside a simple villa by the sea, 3 souls were about to experience a new beginning. The billionaire stood by a small wooden table, a mug of steaming tea in his hands. The entrepreneur and the artist sat across from him, notebooks open, hearts open wider. You're ready now, the billionaire said, voice soft but firm. Ready to learn the formula that changed my life. They leaned in closer. It was time. He called it the 20-20-20 formula. A simple structure, but within it, the power to build empires, heal broken spirits, and unlock greatness. Own your morning, he reminded them again, and you'll own your life. Here's how it worked. First 20 minutes. Move. When you wake up, he explained, you must sweat hard. It flushes out cortisol, that toxic fear hormone. It floods your brain with dopamine and serotonin. It electrifies your energy and focus for the day ahead. Cardio. Jump rope. Burpees. Run. Whatever it takes to get your blood pumping and your spirit roaring. Motion, he smiled, creates emotion. The artist nodded, already picturing himself sketching under a sky burning with color after a quick morning run. Second 20 minutes. Reflect. The billionaire's voice dropped softer now. Most people rush into their day. They drown in busyness. They forget to anchor themselves. But not the 5 a.m. club. This second pocket was for journaling, meditation, gratitude lists, prayer. Deep breathing. Whatever helped you connect to your inner wisdom, that whisper of your true self. Reflect before you act, he said. Center yourself before you serve the world. The entrepreneur scribbled fiercely in her notebook. She could already feel the stress melting at the thought of 20 sacred minutes just for herself. Third 20 minutes. Grow. Education is inoculation against mediocrity, the billionaire declared. In the final part of the hour, you feed your mind. Read a book. Listen to an educational podcast. Study a course. Learn a new skill. Become a lifetime learner, he urged. Commit to growth every single day. While the world slept, you would be sharpening your sword, building muscles in your mind, heart, body, and soul. The 20-20-20 formula wasn't just a morning routine. It was a blueprint for heroic living. And it only demanded 60 minutes. One golden hour. To completely alter the trajectory of your life. The artist sat back, breathless. Was it really that simple? 20 minutes to move. 20 minutes to reflect. 20 minutes to grow. Could this simple rhythm really shatter decades of bad habits? Could it rebuild a shattered identity, a broken dream? The billionaire smiled as if reading their thoughts. Small, daily improvements, when done consistently over time, lead to stunning results, he said. It's not about intensity, he added. It's about consistency. The entrepreneur and the artist exchanged a glance, the first flicker of hope shining between them. This was it. The beginning of their transformation. Not a giant leap, just one powerful step. Taken every single morning. In the silence that followed, the billionaire reached into his pocket and placed a small, battered card on the table. Written in bold ink were 4 words. Own your morning. Elevate your life. Chapter 4. Mastering your mindset. The villa grew quieter as the morning sun bathed the room in gold. The billionaire placed his cup down. He studied the entrepreneur and the artist with a look that was part teacher, part old friend. You now understand the structure, he said softly. But if you truly want to change your life, you must first change your mind. He walked slowly to the window, hands clasped behind his back. The ocean sparkled in the distance, endless and free. Everything begins within, he said, without turning around. Your outer world, he continued, always reflects your inner world. The entrepreneur shifted in her chair. The artist leaned in, eager for more. Master your mindset, he said, turning back to face them, and you'll master your life. He explained that most people lived inside a prison of fear, doubt, self-imposed limits, old wounds, tired beliefs, negative programming. From the moment you were born, he said, the world started writing on your mind. Parents, teachers, society, failures, critics, pain, layer upon layer, until your true self was buried beneath it all. You've been hypnotized, he said simply, conditioned to believe you're less powerful than you are. But the truth, he smiled, is far different. Inside you is a warrior, a legend, a genius, a leader, waiting, longing to be freed. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle into the room. Mindset is a muscle, he said finally. And like any muscle, it can be strengthened or left to weaken. He laid out the keys. 1. Guard your thoughts. Stand at the gates of your mind like a vigilant sentinel, he urged. Refuse entry to fear, negativity, or limitation. 2. Affirm your greatness daily. Tell yourself who you truly are, he said. Not who the world says you are. I am strong. I am capable. I am building a masterpiece of a life. Say it. Feel it. Believe it. 3. Feed your mind with greatness. The books you read, the podcasts you hear, the conversations you have, they are either lifting you higher or pulling you under. Choose wisely. 4. Visualize your future. Each morning, he said, see yourself already living your dreams. Feel the success. Taste the victory. Stand inside the life you are creating. Your mind does not know the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is real. Use that truth to your advantage. The billionaire stepped closer now, his voice low and powerful. You are not your past, he said. You are not your pain. You are not your fears. You are the creator of your future. You are the sculptor of your destiny. You are the author of your masterpiece. The entrepreneur wiped a tear she hadn't noticed fall. The artist closed his eyes, letting the words carve new beliefs deep inside him. Change your mindset. Change your habits. Change your life. The billionaire smiled warmly, the morning sun framing him like a living symbol of hope. Everything is possible, he said, when you believe it is. Chapter 5. The Twin Cycles of Elite Performance. The breeze drifted in from the sea, warm and sweet, carrying the scent of jasmine and salt. The billionaire motioned for everyone to gather around the terrace, where the view stretched endlessly toward the horizon. He took a deep breath, as if pulling strength from the ocean itself. Then he spoke. If you truly wish to live at the highest level of your abilities, he said, you must learn to move through two powerful cycles. The entrepreneur leaned forward. The artist tapped his notebook, ready. The first, the billionaire said, is the cycle of high excellence. And the second, he smiled, is the cycle of deep recovery. He explained it this way. Most people live trapped in only one gear, always busy, always grinding, always on. But true mastery? True greatness? It comes from dancing skillfully between intense work and deep renewal. First comes the cycle of high excellence. This is when you focus. You create. You push yourself beyond what you thought possible. You sprint with everything you've got, no distractions, no excuses. You bring your full fire to the work that matters. But then, and this is where most people fail, you must allow yourself to enter the second cycle. The cycle of deep recovery. You see, he said, elite performers understand that rest isn't weakness. It's a weapon. It's in recovery that your body rebuilds. Your mind sharpens. Your spirit reignites. Without recovery, your creativity shrivels. Your decision-making worsens. Your passion dims. The billionaire smiled knowingly, as if he had once learned this lesson the hard way. He described how athletes train fiercely, but also rest fiercely. How world-class musicians practice intensely, but also step away to renew their inspiration. And yet, he said, most entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders believe they must grind endlessly until they break. He shook his head. That's not strength, he said. That's self-sabotage. The key is rhythm. Push. Recover. Push again. Like the rise and fall of the tide. Like the beating of a heart. He outlined a simple but powerful rule. After periods of intense output, schedule intentional downtime. Nap. Meditate. Walk in nature. Laugh with friends. Lose yourself in art, or silence, or stillness. Let the mind wander. Let the soul breathe. The entrepreneur scribbled notes furiously, already seeing where she had pushed too hard without pausing. The artist exhaled slowly, realizing how much he had neglected his own recovery in the name of progress. Respect the twin cycles, the billionaire said, his voice firm. or risk burning out your potential before your masterpiece is complete. He paused, letting the ancient truth sink deep. You weren't designed to be a machine, he said, his voice softer now. You were designed to be a force of nature. A river that flows powerfully, but also rests in the quiet pools. A forest that grows tall, but also retreats into stillness in winter. Work like a lion. Rest like a sage. This is the secret to lasting greatness. The billionaire turned back toward the sea, letting the morning light wash over him. The entrepreneur and the artist sat quietly, feeling the weight of new wisdom anchoring into their souls. To reach the highest peaks, you must honor both the climb and the camp. Chapter 6. The Habit Installation Protocol. The sun dipped low over the ocean, painting the sky with strokes of gold, rose, and violet. The billionaire gathered the entrepreneur and the artist under a grove of whispering trees, a quiet space away from the villa. You've now learned about mastering your mindset and respecting the twin cycles of performance, he said warmly. Now comes the part most people underestimate. He paused, his gaze steady. Installing habits. The quiet rituals that separate wishful thinkers from legendary performers. You see, he continued, everyone dreams of a better life. Fewer have the discipline to build that life, one tiny choice at a time. He knelt and drew a simple diagram in the sand with a stick. Changing your life isn't an event, he said. It's a process, a predictable, sometimes painful process. And then he introduced it. The Habit Installation Protocol. A three-stage journey every new habit must pass through before it becomes effortless. He called it destruction, installation, integration. The entrepreneur leaned closer. The artist set down his coffee, sensing the importance of what was coming. First comes destruction. When you start a new habit, waking up at 5 a.m., exercising daily, journaling, you aren't just building something new. You're also destroying the old you. Your brain resists. Your body aches. Your emotions rebel. It feels uncomfortable because it is uncomfortable, the billionaire said. Old neural pathways must be dismantled. Old patterns must be challenged. Old comforts must be surrendered. Most people quit here. They think discomfort means they're failing. But discomfort means they're changing. Second comes installation. This is the messy middle. You're caught between who you were and who you are becoming. The new habit feels clumsy. You stumble. You doubt yourself. This is where emotional labor is required, the billionaire said. You must keep showing up, even when it's not perfect. Even when it's not pretty. Even when no one is cheering for you yet. The entrepreneur felt a lump rise in her throat. The artist nodded quietly, thinking of all the times he had quit halfway through something he truly wanted. Finally comes integration. One day, almost without realizing it, the new behavior becomes automatic. It's who you are now. Not something you force. Something you live. The effort you once struggled to muster now flows naturally. The identity you once chased now wears your face. The billionaire stood and brushed the sand from his hands. Research shows, he said, that it takes 66 days on average to install a new habit. Not 21 days, like the myths say. Real transformation takes patience, endurance, and love. He smiled, especially self-love. He then offered the group one final, powerful truth. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. The entrepreneur closed her eyes, feeling the truth of that statement deep in her bones. The artist pressed a hand over his heart, determined to finally walk the entire path this time. As the sky shifted into twilight, The billionaire's voice carried one last message over the ocean breeze. Your days shape your weeks. Your weeks shape your months. Your months shape your years. And your years shape your destiny. And all of it, he said, his voice a whisper now, starts with the habits you dare to build and the courage to endure the storm of change. The habit installation protocol wasn't just a method. It was a declaration. I am becoming who I was meant to be. Chapter 7. The 10 Tactics of Lifelong Genius. The sun had fully risen by now, casting brilliant rays across the terrace where the group gathered. The sound of gentle waves brushing the shore filled the air, wrapping them in serenity. The billionaire stood at the edge of the terrace, hands tucked casually into his pockets, a spark of excitement in his eyes. You've learned how to master your mindset, he began, and how to install the habits that forge greatness. But true genius? He smiled. True genius requires strategy, daily rituals, concrete tactics that keep your fire alive over a lifetime. The entrepreneur and the artist leaned in, notebooks ready, hearts open. Here, said the billionaire, are the 10 tactics of lifelong genius. Tactic 1. The tight bubble of total focus. Protect your environment. Guard your attention like it's your greatest treasure, because it is. No one can produce world-class results while drowning in distractions, he said. Create a tight, sealed bubble around your most valuable hours. No phones. No interruptions. Just pure, undiluted focus. Tactic 2. The 90-90-1 rule. For the next 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your workday on your single most important project. No multitasking. No scattering your power. Just focused, elite-level work on what matters most. Tactic 3. The 60-10 method. Work with bursts of intensity. Spend 60 minutes immersed in deep work. Then take a 10-minute break to recover and recharge. Energy is more valuable than time, said the billionaire. Manage your energy wisely. Tactic 4. The Daily 5 concept. Every day, complete 5 small victories related to your biggest ambitions. It might be making 5 key sales calls. It might be writing 5 important paragraphs. 5 daily wins. Day after day. Year after year. That's how empires are built. Tactic 5. The second wind workout. After your workday winds down, move your body again. A brisk walk. A light jog. A yoga session. The second wind workout, the billionaire smiled, resets your emotions, clears your mind, and sets you up for a strong evening. Tactic 6. The 2 massage protocol. Schedule 2 massages a week. Not a luxury, a necessity. If you want to be a heavy hitter, you need to recover like a heavyweight, said the billionaire. Relax your muscles, refresh your nervous system, rejuvenate your spirit. Tactic 7. Traffic University. Turn your commute into a classroom. Listen to audiobooks. Absorb podcasts. Study new skills. While most people waste time in traffic, he said, you'll be transforming yourself into a genius on wheels. Tactic 8. The Dream Team Technique. You can't do it alone. Build your personal dream team, coaches, mentors, advisors, to help you scale new heights. Even the greatest heroes had guides, the billionaire reminded them. Tactic 9. The Weekly Design System. Spend 30 minutes every Sunday designing your week ahead. Plan your priorities. Schedule your workouts. Map your meetings. Outline your personal time. A deliberate life, he said, is a legendary life. Tactic 10. The 60-minute student. Dedicate at least 60 minutes a day to learning. Read books. Watch tutorials. Study the masters. Becoming a student of life, forever, is how you stay irreplaceable, the billionaire said, his voice alive with passion. The group sat in silence for a moment, letting the wisdom settle in. The entrepreneur imagined herself moving through her days with this kind of intentionality. The artist felt a flicker of excitement at the thought of finally mastering his creativity. Greatness is a deliberate practice, the billionaire said, breaking the silence. Not a lucky accident. He pointed toward the horizon, where the golden light of morning stretched endlessly across the sea. Apply these tactics, he whispered, and you'll create a life that feels as brilliant, as limitless, as that view. Chapter 8. Embracing the twin forces of daily brilliance. The sun had climbed higher into the sapphire sky. The fragrance of wild jasmine floated on the gentle sea breeze. The billionaire, noticing the energized expressions of the entrepreneur and the artist, smiled warmly. He knew they were ready for the next elevation in their journey. There are two invisible forces, he said, stepping forward with a steady voice, that will determine whether you live each day as a masterpiece or as a mess. The group leaned in, eager, hungry for the next revelation. The twin forces of daily brilliance, he continued, are high excellence cycles and deep recovery cycles. High excellence cycles. The billionaire walked slowly across the terrace, hands moving as he spoke. High excellence cycles, he explained, are periods where you bring your absolute best to what matters most. During these times, you are fully locked into your craft. No distractions. No compromises. You summon all your talents, your focus, and your drive. This is where you do the work that will stand the test of time, he said firmly. The entrepreneur pictured herself strategizing for her company's bold future. The artist imagined losing himself for hours in pure, electrifying creativity. High excellence cycles, the billionaire said, require sacred rituals and rigid discipline. You plan for these hours. You protect these hours. You honor these hours. Because these moments create your legacy. Deep recovery cycles. He paused, letting the wisdom hang in the air before continuing. But brilliance cannot be sustained without recovery. He pointed to a row of ancient olive trees swaying gently in the wind. Even the mightiest trees need seasons of rest to grow stronger, he said. Deep recovery cycles are when you unplug. You rejuvenate. You nourish your soul. These are not wasted moments. They are essential investments in your next performance surge. Rest is not a reward. It is part of the process. The artist exhaled, feeling a sudden release of pressure he hadn't realized he was carrying. Without deep recovery, said the billionaire, burnout is inevitable. Creativity collapses. Focus fractures. Energy evaporates. He knelt and drew two circles in the sand, one for high excellence, one for deep recovery, with arrows connecting them in an endless loop. This rhythm is the secret to lifelong peak performance, he whispered. Structuring your day for daily brilliance. The billionaire stood and faced them squarely. Every day, he said, you must deliberately cycle between these two states. He outlined a simple structure they could follow. Begin your morning with a high excellence cycle. Do your most important work while your energy and willpower are strongest. Midday, allow yourself a deep recovery cycle. Eat nourishing food. Take a mindful walk. Reflect. Rest. Then, move into another high excellence cycle. Tackle creative projects. Solve big problems. Chase audacious goals. Close your evening with a final deep recovery cycle. Spend time with loved ones. Enjoy silence. renew your spirit. Flow between these forces, he said, and you will ride the waves of genius, not be drowned by them. The 3 sacred agreements. Before ending the lesson, the billionaire offered 3 sacred agreements that amplified the twin forces. Respect your energy like gold. Manage it, protect it, treasure it. Honor the ebb and flow. There is a season for striving. There is a season for stillness. Prioritize long-term endurance over short-term sprints. Success is not about how fast you burn. It's about how long you can shine. The entrepreneur smiled, feeling a newfound clarity about how to structure her empire-building days. The artist felt a warm resolve settle over him, the understanding that his best work would emerge from a life of balance, not brutality. The billionaire lifted his hands toward the blazing morning sky. "You were built for brilliance," he said with deep conviction. And brilliance blooms when you honor both forces. Every single day. Chapter 9. Turning failure into success. The waves crashed against the rocky cliffs, sending salty mist into the sunlit air. The billionaire, standing tall and confident, turned to face the entrepreneur and the artist. Both were deep in thought. They knew by now that the life they dreamed of demanded more than talent or even discipline. It demanded a new relationship with failure itself. The billionaire spoke softly, yet his words carried enormous weight. "If you truly want to become legendary," he said, "you must learn to love failure as much as you love winning." Failure is the price of mastery. Most people fear failure, the billionaire continued, as if it's some kind of monster waiting to humiliate them. But real winners know. Failure is simply the toll you pay to travel the road to mastery. He paused and gazed out at the horizon, where the ocean met the sky in a shimmering line. "Every master," he said, "was once a disaster." The entrepreneur laughed gently, feeling her shoulders relax. The artist nodded, recognizing himself in the truth of those words. The billionaire continued, his voice rising with passion. "Think of Edison failing 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Think of Jordan being cut from his high school basketball team. Think of Oprah being told she was unfit for television. Each failure wasn't a defeat. It was a refinement, a sharpening, a stepping stone to greatness." The anatomy of a champion's mindset. The billionaire outlined 3 traits that separate everyday people from elite performers. They don't personalize failure. When things fall apart, they don't think, "I'm a loser." They think, "This is part of the process." They extract the lesson quickly. Instead of wallowing in defeat, they ask, "What can I learn here? How can this experience make me better?" They stay in motion. They don't freeze. They don't retreat. They keep moving forward, even if it's just a tiny step. The artist, inspired, scribbled these 3 points in his journal. The entrepreneur underlined the word lesson 3 times in hers. The power of messy progress. "Real success," said the billionaire, "doesn't look like a straight, smooth road." He knelt in the sand and drew a jagged, looping, messy line that eventually led to a shining star. "This," he said, pointing to the messy line, "is the journey of every great creator, leader, and innovator. There will be stumbles. There will be falls. There will be days you wonder if you're wasting your time. But those who reach the summit," he said, "are those who refuse to quit on the hard days." Failure as a feedback system. Start seeing failure differently, the billionaire urged. Failure isn't a punishment. It's feedback. He compared it to a GPS system in a car. When you take a wrong turn, the system doesn't insult you. It simply says, "Recalculating." You must become your own inner GPS, he smiled. When you slip, simply recalibrate. No drama. No self-judgment. Just correction. The entrepreneur felt a wave of relief. For years, she had internalized every mistake, letting them eat away at her confidence. Now, she realized mistakes were simply markers guiding her toward mastery. The three-step ritual to turn setbacks into triumphs. The billionaire then shared a simple, powerful ritual to transform failure into fuel. Step 1. Reflect without shame. Take a breath. Review the setback objectively. No blame. No anger. Just honest analysis. Step 2. Extract the golden lesson. Ask, what can I learn? How can this make me even better? Step 3. Refocus on the mission. Reconnect to your deepest why. Visualize your future success again. Take the next step forward, however small. Failure is a gift. The sun was starting to set, casting golden light over the ocean. The billionaire's voice softened, but carried even more power. Failure, he said, is one of the greatest gifts life can offer you. It teaches you resilience. It sharpens your skills. It humbles your ego. And it tests whether you really want the dream you say you desire. Every failure, he smiled, is preparing you for a level of success you cannot yet see. The entrepreneur wiped away a small tear, overwhelmed by the new vision she had gained. The artist felt a surge of hope rush through his body. Failure would no longer be his enemy. It would be his teacher. The billionaire gathered them close. You have everything you need inside you, he said. Now go out there, fall bravely, rise boldly, and build the life you know you are meant to live. Chapter 10. Living the Endgame. The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving the sky painted in soft shades of orange and purple. The entrepreneur and the artist sat silently, feeling the deep stillness of the moment. It was the perfect backdrop for what the billionaire was about to share, the final, most important lesson. He turned toward them, his face open and earnest. Everything you've learned so far, he said, was never really about waking up early or mastering tactics. It was about one thing, living your endgame with honor, beauty, and joy. Start with the end in mind. The billionaire knelt by a crackling fire they had built earlier and picked up a small stick, drawing a straight line in the sand. This, he said, is the timeline of your life. He marked a small dot at the start. Your birth. He marked another at the far end. Your death. The line in between? That was your one chance. Your opportunity to live fully, love deeply, and contribute bravely. Most people, the billionaire said, never think about their endgame. They rush around chasing things that don't matter, forgetting that their time is not unlimited. But the truly great ones, he said, looking them both in the eye, design their lives backward. They start with the legacy they want to leave, and they live each day as a deliberate step toward it. Legacy over currency. He stood up, his voice growing more powerful. The real measure of a life well lived, he said, is not how much money you earned, or how many likes you collected, but how many hearts you touched, and how many lives you improved. He paused, letting the words sink deep. Legacy always outlasts currency. The artist bowed his head, thinking of the impact he wanted his work to have on the world. The entrepreneur smiled softly, seeing her dreams through a new lens, not just success, but significance. Crafting your endgame life. The billionaire urged them to reflect on three powerful questions. What will the world lose if you don't express the greatness inside you? Who do you need to become today to create the future you deserve? What daily rituals will keep you aligned with your highest vision? Answer these honestly, he said, and you will design a life that makes you proud. The three truths of living fully. He then shared what he called the three endgame truths. You are stronger than you think. Even on your worst days, your true power is far beyond what you can imagine. This moment is your arena. Don't wait for someday. Today is your chance to lead, create, love, and shine. The world needs your light. Someone out there is waiting for your gifts, your voice, your courage. Don't rob them by playing small. Every day is a microcosm of your entire life. The billionaire leaned in, speaking with fierce tenderness. Each day, he said, is like a miniature version of your entire life. If you waste one day, you waste part of your life. But if you honor one day, you honor your whole existence. He encouraged them to treat each morning as a sacred beginning, each afternoon as a powerful continuation, and each evening as a beautiful completion. Living this way, with awareness, gratitude, and intensity, would allow them to stack extraordinary days into an extraordinary life. The final reminder. The fire cracked and popped as the billionaire concluded his teachings. Don't let the noise of the world drown out the whispers of your soul, he said. Don't betray your heart for approval or convenience. He smiled warmly. You are not here to live someone else's story. You are here to write a masterpiece that is uniquely your own. The entrepreneur and the artist felt a deep, grounding peace settle over them. They were no longer the same people who had stumbled into the billionaire's world. They had been transformed from seekers into warriors of light. And as they watched the first stars appear overhead, they understood. The real journey was only just beginning. Final epilogue. The hero in you. As the final chapter of this story closes, a new chapter in your life begins. You've traveled alongside the entrepreneur. You've grown with the artist. You've learned from the billionaire. And now, it's your turn. Your dreams, your passions, your legacy, they are all waiting for you to claim them. No more delaying. No more doubting. No more living small. Because the truth is simple and powerful. You already have everything you need inside you to build a life of rare beauty and unforgettable impact. Each sunrise is your invitation to greatness. Each challenge is your chance to rise. Each heartbeat is a reminder. You are alive for a reason. So, my friend, as you step forward from this moment, remember, you are the hero of your own story. Live boldly, love fiercely, and leave a legacy that will echo across time. If this journey inspired you today, I invite you to like this audiobook, subscribe for more life-changing content, and share this message with your friends, so together we can help awaken even more heroes across the world. Your light matters. Your story matters. And the world is waiting for you to shine. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing. And thank you for choosing greatness. Until we meet again, keep rising,